Leviticus Chapter 24. Then Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel to bring to you pure oil of beaten olives for the light, to make the lamps burn continually. Outside the veil of the testimony in the tent of meeting Aaron shall set it in order from evening to morning before Jehovah continually. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations. He shall keep the lamps in order on the pure lampstand before Jehovah continually. And you shall take fine flour and bake 12 cakes with it, 2/10 of an ephah shall be in each cake. And you shall set them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the pure gold table before Jehovah. And you shall put pure frankincense on each row, so that it may be a memorial for the bread, an offering by fire to Jehovah. Every Sabbath day he shall set it in order before Jehovah continually. It is an everlasting covenant for the children of Israel. And it shall be for Aaron and his sons, and they shall eat it in a holy place, for it is most holy to him of Jehovah's offerings by fire, a perpetual statute. Now the son of an Israelite woman, who was also the son of an Egyptian man, went out among the children of Israel, and the son of the Israelite woman and a certain Israelite struggled together in the camp. And the son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name and cursed, and they brought him to Moses. Now his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. And they put him in custody so that it might be declared to them by the mouth of Jehovah. Then Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, Bring forth the one who has cursed outside the camp, and let all who heard him lay their hands on his head, and let all the assembly stone him. And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, Anyone who curses his God shall bear his sin. And the one who blasphemes the name of Jehovah shall surely be put to death, all the assembly shall surely stone him. The sojourner as well as the native, when he blasphemes the name, shall be put to death. And anyone who takes the life of any human being shall surely be put to death. And the one who takes the life of a beast shall make restitution for it, life for life. And anyone who causes a blemish in his fellow countryman, as he has done, so shall it be done to him. A fracture for a fracture, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, just as he has caused a blemish in a man, so it will be inflicted on him. And one who kills a beast shall make restitution for it, but one who kills a human being shall be put to death. You shall have one judgment for the sojourner as well as for the native, for I am Jehovah your God. And Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and they brought forth the one who had cursed outside the camp and stoned him with stones. So the children of Israel did just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Leviticus Chapter 25. Then Jehovah spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I am giving you, the land shall observe a Sabbath to Jehovah. 6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather in its produce. But in the 7th year the land shall have a Sabbath of complete rest, a Sabbath to Jehovah. You shall not sow your field nor prune your vineyard. The aftergrowth of your harvest you shall not reap, and the grapes of your unpruned vine you shall not gather, the land shall have a year of complete rest. And the Sabbath produce of the land shall be for food for you and for your male slaves and for your female slaves, and for your hired servant and for your stranger, who sojourns with you. And for your cattle and for the animals that are in your land, shall all its produce be for food. And you shall count off 7 Sabbaths of years to yourself, 7 times 7 years, so that you have the time of 7 Sabbaths of years, that is, 49 years. Then you shall sound aloud the ram's horn in the 7th month on the 10th day of the month, on the day of expiation you shall sound the trumpet throughout all your land. And you shall sanctify the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you shall return to his family. The 50th year shall be a jubilee for you, you shall not sow nor reap its aftergrowth nor gather from its unpruned vines. For it is a jubilee, it shall be holy to you. You shall eat its produce out of the field. In this year of Jubilee each one of you shall return to his possession. And if you sell anything to your fellow countrymen or buy from the hand of your fellow countrymen, you shall not wrong one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee you shall buy from your fellow countrymen, according to the number of crop years remaining he shall sell to you. According to the extent of the years you shall increase its price, and according to the fewness of the years you shall diminish its price, for it is the number of crop years that he sells to you. And you shall not wrong one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am Jehovah your God. Thus you shall observe my statutes, and you shall keep my ordinances and observe them, so that you dwell securely in the land. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat to be satisfied and dwell securely in it. And if you should say, What shall we eat the 7th year if we do not sow or gather in our produce? Then I will command my blessing for you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth produce for 3 years. When you sow in the 8th year you will eat of the old produce until the 9th year, until its produce comes in, you shall eat the old produce. And the land shall not be sold in perpetuity, because the land is mine, for with me you are strangers and sojourners. And in all the land of your possession you shall provide for the redemption of the land. If your brother becomes poor and sells some of his possession, then his redeemer, the nearest relative, shall come and redeem what his brother has sold. But if a man does not have anyone to redeem it, but he obtains the means and finds it sufficient to redeem it, then let him calculate the years since its sale and restore the excess to the man to whom he sold it, and return to his possession. But if he has not found sufficient means to restore it for himself, then what he has sold shall remain in the hand of the one who has purchased it until the year of Jubilee, and in the Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return to his possession. And if anyone sells a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it until the end of a year from its sale, for a full year he shall have the right of redemption. But if it is not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall pass in perpetuity to the one who purchased it throughout his generations, it shall not go out in the Jubilee. But the houses of the villages which have no wall all around them shall be reckoned with the fields of the country, they may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilee. As for the cities of the Levites, that is, the houses of the cities of their possession, the Levites shall have the permanent right of redemption. And what can be redeemed from the Levites, that is, a house that was sold in a city of his possession, shall go out in the Jubilee, for the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if your brother becomes poor, and he is unable to support himself as he lives beside you, then you shall support him, like a stranger and a sojourner, so that he may live beside you. Do not take any interest or gain from him, but fear your God, so that your brother may live beside you. You shall not give him your money at interest nor give him your food for gain. I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan, to be your God. And if your brother beside you becomes poor, and he sells himself to you, you shall not make him serve as a slave. He shall be beside you as a hired servant, as a sojourner, he shall serve beside you until the year of Jubilee. Then he shall go out from you, he and his children with him, and return to his own family, and he shall return to the possession of his forefathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, they shall not be sold as slaves are sold. You shall not rule over him with severity, but you shall fear your God. And as for your male slaves and female slaves whom you may have, they shall come from the nations that are around you, from them you may buy male slaves and female slaves. Moreover from the children of the strangers who sojourn among you, from them you may buy, and from their families who are with you, which they have begotten in your land, they also may be your possession. And you shall make them an inheritance for your children after you, to receive as a possession, you may use them as permanent slaves. But you shall not rule over your brothers the children of Israel, one over another, with severity. And if a stranger or sojourner with you can afford it, and your brother beside him becomes poor and sells himself to the stranger or sojourner with you, or to the descendants of the stranger's family, After he has sold himself, he may be redeemed, one of his brothers may redeem him. Or his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any of his close relatives of his family may redeem him, or if he can afford it, he may redeem himself. And he shall reckon with the one who bought him from the year that he sold himself to him until the year of Jubilee, and the price of his sale shall be according to the number of years. The time he shall be with him shall be calculated like the time of a hired servant. If there are still many years, in proportion to them he shall give back the amount for his redemption out of the money that he was bought for. And if there are only a few years remaining until the year of Jubilee, so he shall reckon with him. In proportion to his years he shall give back the amount for his redemption. Like a servant hired year by year he shall be with him, he shall not rule with severity over him in your sight. And if he is not redeemed by these means, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. For the children of Israel are my servants, they are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, I am Jehovah your God.